You might think that as a climate policy advisor, I agree with absolutely everything the Green Party have to say, but let me tell you on at least one very important thing, I do not, and let me tell you why. So the war in Iran has pushed up fossil fuel prices around the world, and in many countries, commentators and politicians have been arguing that governments ought to step in to support consumers and households with the costs of energy. Here in the UK, the Green Party in particular have been pushing for government subsidies to support energy prices. Zack Polanski says the government should guarantee now it will not allow bills to rise beyond the April to June energy price cap, which is currently £1,641. This could mean support of up to £300 per household per month. Now, on the face of it, this seems great, right? Supporting ordinary households with high energy prices and lowering the cost of living. And if energy bills rise, the price of everything else tends to rise as well, so it's good to keep energy bills down. But as someone who advises governments around the world on their climate and energy policies, I can tell you there are 3 issues with this. The first issue is that Polanski's proposal, as far as I can tell, would technically be a fossil fuel subsidy, a fossil fuel consumption subsidy to be precise, because it seems to be a blanket subsidy, so it would apply on all energy no matter whether it comes from renewables, gas or nuclear. Now, gas still makes up about 28% of UK electricity as of 2025. But the bigger issue is that it still makes up about 85% of household heating. Now, the problems with fossil fuel subsidies are many, and they are extremely well documented. By lowering the cost of fossil fuels, they make fossil fuels artificially competitive with renewables, which discourages diversification of energy sources and the uptake of clean energy. They drive overconsumption of fossil fuels, which pushes long-term costs higher. They lock in fossil fuel dependence. They undermine energy security and weaken public finances too. Now, the second issue is that this kind of blanket subsidy that applies to the whole population actually benefits the rich much more than the poor, and to understand why, you need to understand the rich tend to use more energy than the poor do. Because, for example, they tend to have larger houses and drive multiple vehicles, for example. Comparative evidence shows that the top 20% of households can receive up to 11 times the benefits of fossil fuel subsidies compared with the lowest 20%. The third issue is that these kinds of subsidies, although they soften the immediate impacts of an energy shock, they only address the symptoms of the problem. We saw this in the aftermath of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the associated oil and gas crisis in 2022 to 2023. Governments rolled out massive subsidies to the tune of $1.6 trillion in 2022 alone, which supported consumers in the moment, but the underlying exposure to market volatility remained.